Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me and my very special guest. He is one of the New York Theater's most beloved performers, and I have known him since his Broadway debut in the original production of Spring Awakening. You know him from such shows as Bye Bye Birdie, Warhorse, Book of Mormon, Sweeney Todd, and from TV's Gossip Girl, and of course from the new Broadway production of Company. And this coming Sunday afternoon, April 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he will be live in concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of the Seth Concert Series that streams right here at Broadway World. Please say hello to my friend, Matt Doyle.
Hello. Oh my God. It's so good to see you, even if it's over, StreamYard. I'm just so happy to be able to talk to you. It feels like, I don't know if you feel it as well, but just because there's some momentum and there's some hope right now, it feels like things are starting to get a little bit more real again. And it's like, it's nice to have these introductions back into Broadway World and everything and be able to talk to you. I'm so excited to be here.
You look sensational.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. I need like a haircut. I think we've all gained our COVID-15, as we like to call it. And I've definitely been I was talking to a few friends recently, like, okay, so let's all like get back into shape now. I don't know. Is it time or nah, let's put it off.
Well, it's getting very close. First off, Matt, how are you and where are you?
So I'm in Jersey City. I actually did move into a new place in the midst of all of this. We found a larger place for much less than what we were paying before, and I feel like everyone's had a big transition this year somehow. And I'm in my office in our new place. So we didn't have an office before, and I think we were about to murder each other, my partner and I. And so it's much better for our new lifestyle, which is just everything is virtual, and it's unbelievable how much our lives have changed. I'm good. There's been a lot of downs and a lot of like almost manic ups in the past year. And it's just been survival. And I just have so much respect for not only everyone in our industry, but just everyone that is figuring this out and trying to survive it. It's absolutely, it's just unlike anything we've ever lived through.
Yeah. Well, for some people who may not know, your partner, of course, is Max Clayton, one of the co-stars of the hit musical Moulin Rouge.
Yes.
So, I didn't get a chance to catch up with either of you this year.
Yeah.
So what was this whole year like for you? Because you two got COVID, right?
We did. We had COVID the first weekend of all of this, which is very, very strange to think back on. I mean, it's been over a year now since we had it. And that was one of the reasons why I was so relieved to get the vaccination, which I just got my first shot, and so did Max, because our antibodies were well over and done. And it's just so surreal to even think like I can get this again, And Max, it was really, really hard for us, especially because that year that was presenting itself to us was something that never comes along for Broadway couples and people that are in the industry together. We were on the same block, both in these hit shows, and the biggest shows of the season, to be quite frank, the revival and the new musical. And I was so excited to share that with him, and we kept saying to each other, even days before we shut down, like, let's not like miss a moment of this. Let's share in every single second of it and appreciate it and be so grateful and make sure that we appreciate every minute of it. And then a global pandemic hit, which was just like, what? How do you even take that in? And it was really a really tough transition, but I'm so glad that we've had each other throughout this, because I don't know how I would have gotten through it. I without him, is we were able to be there. We were always kind of on the opposite end of the emotional spectrum. So he helped me when I needed it, and I helped him, and we just kind of kept each other afloat during the hardest moments.
See, it's interesting. I've been talking to people all around the world, and everyone's in a different predicament, because some people are single, some people are living with somebody else. Some people are in a stone, apartment building. Some have grass, some have homes. So it's so different. But of course, you were one of the co-stars and are one of the co-stars of a new production of Company. Were you able to put it all into perspective right away, or how long did it take for you and Max to be like, oh my gosh, is this going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be a month?
And we were not able to put it in perspective at all. I mean, I was overly positive this entire time, and I don't think until about October I really like just shut down and let myself grieve it, because I just wanted to hang on to it. I wanted to make sure that it didn't get away from me. Actually, Katrina said that recently, just like I wanted to hang on so tightly to it, and now I'm comfortable with it kind of like being there when I am ready to go back to it. But like, it was like, I can't lose it. I cannot lose this thing that I care so deeply about, and not just Company, but Broadway. You know, I can't let go of this. We have to stay together. We have to stay positive. We have to focus on the future. We have to focus on the other side. And I was so intense about that, and trying to be the cheerleader of my company, and trying to, you know, check in with everybody, almost to a point that like was a little unhealthy. And finally, I think once that fall hit, it was before the election when we didn't know what was going to happen. Everything was so grim. It was before they announced any vaccinations. I think I crashed. And that was like months after I'd even had COVID. You know, like I just finally accepted, okay, this is as dark as it possibly gets. And it is like, this is really, really, really bad. And we don't know what's going to happen. And so grieving it really helped. And then these signs of hope started to happen after that. You know, luckily the election, I'm sorry, my partner just came home. Luckily the election went well. And luckily we got these vaccinations that were not just 70% effective, which was the like greatest hope, but 95% effective. And those were the moments that like slowly pulled me out of my grief and just allowed me to say, not just theater is going to be okay, but like my parents are going to be okay. You know, like the things that I needed to hear to move on in life in general just started to kind of pull through. And I've become a little bit more hopeful, but certainly I'm much more of a realist now. It's my dog.
Bring him on. Who is this?
This is Layla.
Hey, Layla. I love it. You know, how are you staying? Oh, look at this. Beautiful.
No, she's so sweet.
You have a child too.
Really yes. Oh my gosh, she's always here.
Yeah. So I had Christopher Sieber here, and Christopher was like, well, you know, we do our Zooms or we do our StreamYards with the company. We play cards, you know, we do all this different stuff. Are you still doing that with the company? Has it stopped for a while?
Much less. I mean, and thank God, you know, I think I think it all comes back to just like the way you digest this information and this grief. Like I was saying, we were just holding on to it so tightly. And then there was this permission finally where we were like, it's okay. I'll see you soon, guys, you know? So we've done it like kind of every couple months now. It started as every week, and then it moved to every month. And now they just had one like 2 weeks ago to celebrate the anniversary. And I missed that one just because I wasn't home that night. I was actually finally seeing my fully vaccinated parents. And but so it's still happening, and we're definitely all still in touch with one another and still text each other. But it's much more like, I would compare it more now to, we did our out of town and we're waiting to go into Broadway, kind of keeping in contact with each other. You know, like I know we'll all reestablish our relationships and friendships when we get there, but it doesn't have to feel so like, if I lose this, I lose you, I lose everything, which is definitely where we were for a while. You could feel everyone just like clinging to it. Like, I can't let go of this.
Well, you have to tell me what it was like rehearsing Company with this incredible company, pardon the pun, and working with director Marianne Elliott.
Yeah. So Marianne and I, we did Warhorse together, and I was, when I did Warhorse, I guess I was 23 years old. And the second day of rehearsal in Warhorse, Marianne came up to me, sat down next to me in the big circle, and she said, I really need a mate. Will you be my mate? And I was like, yes. I don't know why you targeted me, but yes, I am your best friend now. And so we got really close throughout that the entire rehearsal process. And then the way life happens, we kind of lost touch after Warhorse. And I was so nervous going in for my audition. I was originally auditioning for Paul, and I was just so nervous to see her again, to act in front of her again, to talk to her again. Because it was one of those relationships where you're like, I don't know why we lost touch. I don't know why we haven't spoken in so long. And I remember going into the room and like shaking before I saw her. And then the second I was in the room, it was like, oh my gosh. And our chemistry working together has always been just bliss. I understand her. She can call out, the smallest things in me, and just completely disarm me and make me a better performer. And she has that ability with everyone. She's so personal. She's so thoughtful, and she cares so deeply about the text that she's working on and the specificity of the text. And I just love that so much. And I originally went in for Paul. She said I was not a Jamie when I emailed, can I go in for Jamie? I would really like to read for Jamie. And then within like 30 seconds of me reading for Paul, she was like, oh God, you're right. You are a Jamie. So I was fortunate enough to have 24 hours to prepare that material and go back in. And I was so blown away when I got the part. And just, it's an honor I can't even express. I like, you work in this business for a while and you kind of hold out for something truly, truly special, and know when it comes that it will always be that thing that was perhaps one of the most profound things you get to do in theater. And every day of working on Company, I knew that, I knew that this was something that I will look back on. Even if we somehow don't go back and we know that we are going back, I will always hold even those 3 months of rehearsals and those 9 performances as the most special thing ever. I mean, just even singing for Steve at our Sitz Probe, just all the memories from that entire production, working with Patty every single day and just watching a master class every moment. It was, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay, we have to go back for, you just said you had 24 hours to perfect the Jamie material. And I'm sure that was singing Getting Married Today for her too, right?
And the scene, which is just spastic monologuing. So it's not like, okay, there's a few lines. It is literally, he is the entire scene because he doesn't stop talking. And I was crying because it was Max's opening night of Moulin Rouge. And so I went home and I just said, I can't come. I will not do badly in front of her. She of course was like, it's fine. Just look it over. Come on in. We'll figure it out. I was like, no, I am going to nail this or not come. Like there's no in between. So I stayed up until like 4 a.m. I didn't know the words to Getting Married. It was not something I'd ever had to learn before, and I'd of course heard it, but I had never like sat down and actually worked on learning it. And I remember like being in the lobby of my building because I was trying not to wake up Max at like 5 a.m. after he got back from his opening night party, just like still going over it. Like, please just remember it. And somehow the next day I walked in and the words just fell out of me. And I was in there for like an hour with her, and it was just this wonderful, wonderful work session. She was incredible.
Oh, I have goosebumps just listening to this. Seriously. Okay, so that's one of the biggest Sondheim tongue twister songs ever written.
Unbelievable.
Do you remember the first time you had to sing it for Steve? Was it at the Sitz Probe?
It wasn't. So the first time that I had to sing it for him, I didn't realize I would have to sing it for him, which I think was probably the best. So we were running through our scenes and we were told that Steve might come by. And the way we had rehearsed it was very, very strange. I will call you out on that, Marianne. We were all rehearsing separately for like weeks, and we would come and rehearse the big group numbers together, but none of us had seen each other's work because they're all just different little scenes, and they are not, connected until much later on in the show when we all come together. And I thought I was going to go the next day. And Marianne comes up to me and she goes, I think we will get to your scene today. And I was like, oh. And she was like, oh, and by the way, Steve's going to be here. And I was like, oh, and she was like, you're all right, right? And I was like, yeah. And it was one of those moments where I was like, don't show fear. Do not show that you're terrified of doing this. So we ran through the scene. I spit all the words out again. Luckily didn't miss a syllable, thank God. It went well. And then I walked up to Marianne and I said, hey, so you do know that we haven't staged getting married yet. So what I just did, I just made up completely. And she was like, no. She was like, I thought you had staged it. And I was like, nope, never staged it. We did not. That was not on the rehearsal list yet. So I went in very, very blind the first time I did it for Stephen Sondheim. But luckily it went very well. And Steve has been incredibly kind and given me nothing but incredible support every step of the way and the best notes ever. He's talk about a man that knows his material and really, really understands actors as well and knows how to speak to them and knows what is valuable within his material and what needs to be pulled out of it.
Because everybody who I've spoken to, every star has said the same thing. They're like, to get those little snippets from Stephen Sondheim, it's like from God, but they're so succinct.
Yeah. No, he really is so smart. And there was one note even before our final preview that he gave me, which is the final line of my scene, which is, I'm the next bride. And it was a repeated note from him, which was that he wanted it to be just screamed, you know, like the most excitement ever. And so I would do it and I would do it. And finally he was like, no, I really need you to just like scream it. It's my favorite line in the show. And I was like, okay. And so I got up there and on our final preview, I remember just letting it out, you know, like, I'm the next bride. And it felt so good. And I remember thinking, my God, he's right. He was right. You know, of course he's right.
I love that. Well, we have more about Sondheim coming up later in our interview, but we have to talk about Sunday. This coming Sunday afternoon, April 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will be live doing your virtual concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of his Seth concert series that streams right here at Broadway World. Matt, how excited are you?
I'm so excited. So I was saying this. I'm so sorry if you can hear the construction above me. They're like,
I don't care. It's all good.
Okay, they're working on like an apartment in my new building. I'm like, great, thanks.
They thought Max was blending something in the blender.
Nope,
I said,
nope. I think they're fully drilling into the floor above me, so that's great. Welcome to this year.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. First of all, I love Seth. I think he's so funny and so smart, and I tune into, you know, his streams all the time and have been a fan of his for years. And I was so honored when he asked me and so excited because I haven't really done a virtual concert yet, and which is strange, but I haven't done one of my own. It's so hard over Zoom because of the sound issues, but they've got the tech. They've set us up beautifully. And I can't wait to do this set because I never do. When I do my shows in the city, I have pop albums. So I usually focus on my pop music and pop covers. And that's kind of what I perform, especially down in venues like Joe's Pub. I don't do a lot of musical theater. And this time Seth was like, I want you to focus on your career and focus on the shows you've done. So it is like the most musical theater set I've ever done. I feel like it's the set everyone has ever wanted me to do at 54 Below when they come and then they get like, you know, Bob Dylan for an hour. But it is just like, it's so satisfying. And even going over the music and singing songs from Hair and singing songs for the shows that have inspired me and the shows that I've worked on, Book of Mormon, which I haven't sang in so long. It's just like, it's been really good for my soul right now, especially when I miss musical theater so much. It's just such a nice reminder of like, I can't wait to be back up on stage singing again. So it's gonna feel good. I feel like it's gonna be chicken soup for the soul for me on Sunday as well.
I love this because you're right. All your concerts aren't rock and roll covers or whatever, or pop covers. And I'm like, I said, doing this concert with Seth, I said, it has to be his musical theater. Seth will be like, no, you're singing from Book of Mormon. You're singing from Sweeney Todd.
And I knew that. I didn't even run it by Seth. I was like, I don't think I'm going to do my normal show with you. And he was like, no, you're singing from all of your shows that you've done. I was like, great. Great, we'll do it. So I'm really excited to do that. And yeah, so there's going to be Spring Awakening in there. There's going to be oh gosh, I've even thrown the one pop song I threw in, I think is a Huey Lewis song, because I did the Huey Lewis musical. So I managed to slip in a bit of rock and roll in there as well.
How have rehearsals been going? Because did you have a rehearsal with Seth yesterday?
Yes, we did. And I'm so glad that, as you can see, I've got quite a tech heavy setup at this point, and I was very, very relieved to have all this equipment now. What a strange year it's been. I mean, I started with an iPad before all of this began, and I now have 2 monitors in front of me, a camera that I've spent way too much money on, a ring light, like, it's just insane, the studios that we now all have at home to adapt to this new time and new world. And it was such a relief for something like this, because I was just able to plug all of my equipment right in, and we make it work, and I can hear the piano live, and we can work together live, which is so nice, because there's a delay on Zoom. You can't do that on Zoom. So we actually tried doing that with Company when we first started, playing the track and singing along, and everyone was out of sync. And I'll never forget just like all the cast members saying, "What's going on? What's going on?" and trying to sing the opening song Company over Zoom. It was a disaster. I wish someone had video of it.
Because that's what's great about StreamYard, and what
Yes.
Seth has done is, I mean, when these concerts first started, it was Kelly O'Hara, and she was like, "Richard, I was out of sync the first time, but we didn't care, and we kept freezing or dropping out." But of course, he's perfected this with this incredible team over the course of this year.
Amazing. It's amazing. And I can't wait for the performance coming up as well. But I know we have a funny date. We're performing on Easter, but come on. I mean, you're not going to church. Come see the show.
Oh, we can't wait. I love what you're doing Sunday afternoon. But so are you doing the concert right from where you are? Is this
I am. I'm probably going to turn it around a little bit so that I can be standing and move around my equipment a little bit. But as you know, cable management is terrifying. So I haven't done all of that yet. I'm like, oh gosh, it's like taking apart, the biggest Lego set ever. But I will. I'll be standing, probably turned out so that it's looking out to our patio that we have, and it will be nice. I'm excited to set it up and light it and everything.
Well, you have a live-in stage manager and
yes, I do.
designer, and
I do.
That's the nice thing about having Max there. I would talk to all these people. They're like, "Thank God I have a husband," or "Thank God I have a boyfriend or a girlfriend." They're like, "They're going to be my stage manager, my lighting designer," all that stuff.
Yeah, no, Max has been so helpful with all of that stuff. Although I am the tech one, I will say. I'm the tech whiz here. I help him with a lot of his classes too that he sets up here. He's always like, "Where's the mic? Why isn't it working?" I mean, if I think I have kind of like just destroyed the computer for him, because there are so many moving parts and pieces now. It's so confusing.
Have you chosen an outfit for Sunday night or Sunday afternoon?
Ooh, I haven't. I love a good Henley. I'll probably throw a Henley on, or maybe a button down. Maybe we'll work a button down. But yeah, I'll make myself look nice. I'm trying to get him for a haircut before then. I've got these, these wings coming out, the quarantine hair.
I wish I had quarantine hair.
Your hair looks amazing.
Oh, it's all an illusion. It's all Mac and a ring light. That's what it's all about.
Yes, exactly.
You're also offering a very special VIP sound check ticket at 12 noon on Sunday. Now, these are amazing because I've watched all of these. Yeah. You're going to have so much fun. How cool is that you're offering this to your fan base?
I love it so much. I mean, I think it's nice to it humanizes any performer when you get to be able to see them setting up and figuring things out, and recognize that, right before the curtain raises, there are so many things that they're trying to work out. And I'm sure we will be doing just that, especially during this crazy time. But I think it's such an intimate experience to be able to watch someone's process. And I would love it if anyone wanted to join that, because it's something I actually really like to share, because I think it's important that people see that, and it's important that people see that side of performers, not the polished version that comes out when the curtain raises, but actually the inner workings of a performer. And Seth is also so fun and so candid, especially off screen. So I'm imagining that will be the energy as well.
Oh, these are so much fun. Like I said, you're going to have the 12 noon sound check, and then people are going to click on again at 3 p.m. and see this beautiful finished product. And they're going to be like, wow, it was so nice, because fans want to go behind the scenes and see
Yes.
how it's all done. And that's a great thing that Seth's been offering with these sound check tickets. They're really great. So I want to remind everybody once again that Matt will be live in concert with Seth Rudetsky this Sunday afternoon. He's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a rebroadcast Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this very special VIP soundcheck ticket, which is amazing, at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. All tickets are $28.50. And the amazing thing right now is there is a student discount now available for
Oh, wow.
all the Seth concerts. He's just announced this at BroadwayWorld, but you must be a registered student with one of those .edu email addresses by using that email address, code STUDENT, when signing on for a BroadwayWorld account. The series, of course, is produced by Mark Cortali. It is sponsored by BroadwayWorld and StreamYard, and tickets are available at Broadway World Events and, of course, at SethConcerts.com, or just Google Matt Doyle. It will send you somewhere to buy a ticket. Matt, growing up, where did your love for the theater begin, and what were your earliest creative outlets?
My earliest creative outlets was not actually in theater. So my parents met in art school. They met working in design and fell madly in love. They're still together. 42 years later, I think. And they were really, 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 really big on us focusing on the creative arts when we were kids. And I drew a lot, and I was very, very interested in art when I was a kid. And my sister Colleen, who's my middle sister, 3 years older than I am, is also a brilliant artist. She went to Rhode Island School of Design and for draw paint, and she's incredible. And I always felt like I would never catch up to her. I mean, I was 3 years younger, but like her skills were so good, and I always felt overshadowed, or that she was overshadowing me. Like I couldn't, I was not her. And I really wanted to find my own thing. And I knew that I liked singing. I knew I could sing, and I had that over her. I feel like sibling rivalry kind of helped feed this. And when we moved from the East Coast when I was about 10 years old out to California. And maybe 11 years old, and I was horribly bullied once I got to this new school. And I knew I wanted to try and pursue theater, and I really needed to find a community of my own outside of this school because it was really bad. And I found community theater and immediately found kids like me, kids that I enjoyed spending time with. And I'll never forget the first moment. Everybody talks about their first moment, but mine was walking on stage as a farmer in Oklahoma. And it was with Marilyn Izdebski Productions out in Marin, California. And I looked up singing "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning." And I just was like, this is the best thing ever. This is the best thing ever. And I became obsessed with doing shows in community theater and in high school. And then I really, really wanted to further my singing ability. So I started taking vocal lessons in San Francisco, like 4 to 6 hours a week. And then went to school in London for classical theater, but it just all snowballed from there. It's that like one moment that sparks in a kid's brain sometimes can just completely alter their lives. And as I want to say this, because as we head back towards this new normal, because it's not back to where we were, there are so many community theaters and regional theaters around the country right now that need your help. And if you have one in your community that needs donations, or a theater that needs to be saved right now, please, if your kid's school theater program needs help, please, please, please reach out to them, donate, do whatever you can to try and help them out, because that's why I'm here. Those were my teachers, and that's what inspired me, and that's what lit the flame, and that's what has given me so much joy in my life and really, really saved my life in so many ways. And I know there are so many struggling right now, and we think about Broadway and we think about New York theater coming back and needing to come back, but New York theater doesn't exist without community theater and without these regional houses and without kids like me finding it when they're 11 years old. So I'm very, very, very excited to help my past community theaters out on the other side of this as well.
See, I love that, because I was going to ask you, what do you hope the theater will look like when it comes back? But it's like, protect community theaters and these small little theaters, because that's where the spark began for
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the first show I saw because I grew up in North Shore, Massachusetts. So the first show I saw before we moved to California was at North Shore. And I think it was, gosh, it was like a production of like Beauty and the Beast or something. I don't know. I don't even remember. But my mom used to take us there on the weekends, probably before I could even like remember these things. I was like 6 years old. And so that was my first exposure to theater. And it's so important.
That is great. Well, you have this wonderful career, and I'd like to mention just some of the highlights, and just tell me what comes to mind, Matt, a fun story or a great memory, okay?
Okay.
So many people were supposed to make their Broadway debuts this past spring, this last year, and of course they couldn't. And I hope that when the theater comes back bigger and better than ever, they'll be given that opportunity. Broadway debuts are really special. Yours was in the original production of Spring Awakening.
Yes.
How magical was your Broadway debut, and what do you remember?
Incredible. I mean, still to this day, Spring Awakening was a funny time for a lot of us, because you look back on it and it's so many emotions, because it was high school for us, essentially. I mean, none of us were professional actors before that. And we were just thrust into this insanely chaotic phenomenon. And I got to join the Broadway company. I was added into the original cast as an offstage cover essentially for John Groff. They wanted a Melchior standby that would also stand by for all the other roles. And I had auditioned for it for about 7 months through open calls, and I was working as a PA. My parents were so good about me not going back to university, but they had cut me off financially just because they were like, well, that's not how this works. We're not paying for you to, play house in the city. So I was really, really like hustling and trying to make it happen and going to open calls. And I got the phone call when I was on set one day that I was joining the company of Spring Awakening right after all the rave reviews. And I just remember I had just gotten coffee for someone. Somebody had just yelled at me on set. I just remember breaking down in tears, walking back on set, and they were like, "Where were you? You were supposed to be here." And I said, "I just got my first Broadway job." And then I left. I just quit. I left.
Where were you? What set were you on? What were you doing?
It was for a Dawn soap commercial. And I was holding monitors. And this is a true story. The director earlier that day, because I'm sure I was a terrible PA, by the way. The director earlier that day was like, "So what do you really want to do? Or you want to be an actor?" And he was, I don't know who this guy was. I should really look him up, but he was so obnoxious. Like, he walked onto set like the biggest shot in the world. And I was like, "You're directing a Dawn soap commercial." Like, you would think he was Martin Scorsese, like, it was hysterical, his attitude. And he looked at me and he was like, "You want to be an actor?" "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, well, you should see this show, Spring Awakening. These kids are so talented," and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Oh, I've been auditioning for it, but yeah, for a while, but I went to final callbacks." I was trying to tell him, and I knew he didn't believe me. And I got cast in it like an hour later. And so when he was told, he just looked at me and he goes, "Get out of here. Go on, go on." Like, he knew that I was not going to keep working that day. And so I left. And I'll never forget that moment, is just getting that call. But it completely changed my life, because it was such a phenomenon and people were so interested in that cast and that experience that we were having. And not just that, but I was raised then by Michael Mayer in the theater. And Michael Mayer is so funny and so direct and so no bullcrap. Like, he will call you out on everything. And it was for my sensitive, insecure self. And boy, did he put me through it. And boy, did I learn a lot. And I needed to learn a lot. It was the best training I could have ever received in the world. And he whipped me into shape so fast. And luckily, I've had the honor of working with him more since then. Yeah. But I was so grateful looking back on it, even if it was hard at the time. And there were lots of ups and downs during those 2 years. I was so grateful that is that's where my training came from. And that was my first experience, was because I was just thrust right into all of it. I mean, I went from getting coffee and then 2 months later performing on the Tony Awards with them. It was just insane.
Okay, so first performance on stage is Melchior. Do you remember?
Yes, yes. So I had laryngitis, and John Groff had taken his like first shows off. It was finally in July of that year because he was a machine and could just like be there. He's the best. Everybody loves John Groff. And I, like 2 nights before, I was like, no, this is not happening. And I had the sorest throat and it was just like setting in. And the next day I went in and I like could barely hit the notes and I was getting so scared. And then I woke up the day of the performances and it was just gone. And so I warmed up as best I could. And I think adrenaline got me through it that day. But oh yeah, that was my Broadway debut as a leading role, was singing through laryngitis. It was just perfect. But it was incredible. I mean, and luckily they were very, very happy with it still. But I'll never forget, I think even in Left Behind, there was that beautiful falsetto section at the end. And that part of my voice was just gone. So I was like, it whistles through the ghost. It was just mortifying. Like, that's how I wanted to do it.
That's great. They probably said, "Oh no, we want that performance you gave on your first performance."
I know. I think they probably thought it was like emotional and beautiful, and they were like, "That was great."
That's great. You know, you then played, when I spent a lot of time with you, was when you played Hugo Peabody in Roundabout Theater Company's production of Bye Bye Birdie.
Yes.
Opposite John Stamos, that incredible cast. How much fun was it doing that show?
It was so fun. You know, people talk about, we all have like our clumsy productions that we've done in our career. And I would say that at this point about that production of Bye Bye Birdie. But out of that usually comes the best experiences, because it's a cast that is just happy to be there, happy to be working, and happy to be able to share the stage together and get to create and laugh together. And I can't say enough good things about John Stamos during that production. He was everyone's like fierce leader and so warm and kept us together even when harsh reviews came out when we opened and all sorts of things. And I had so much fun on that production. And I think that you'll hear that a lot about shows that weren't necessarily these big successes with critics. You will find that the companies of those shows are still very, very close because they went through something together and they had to learn how to laugh about it and enjoy each other's company and recognize we're just here to play, you know? And at the end of the day, it is Bye Bye Birdie, you know? We're like, at the end of the day, we're here to laugh and make people laugh and just have a good time. And I loved that company so much. That ensemble of men, the adult men in that company, just great. I mean, John Tracy Egan was in my dressing room with me and just whipped me into shape. It was right after Spring Awakening. I probably had the worst ego in the world. And it was so wonderful to have a mentor like that and just like looking at me, you know, hitting me across the head like, you've got a long career ahead of you, kid. Like, you don't even know what's in store. And I'm very, very grateful that that was my follow-up to Spring Awakening.
Yeah. Then, of course, there was Elder Price in the runaway hit Book of Mormon. I mean, favorite memories of that. There must be so many.
Cody Strand, I would say, because first of all, working with that original company was amazing. I got to be there when everyone was still there. And I really went in shortly after Andrew Reynolds' departure. And Andrew's a dear friend. So it was lovely to get to go try to fill his shoes. And that was very much the focus when I first joined, which is usually the first replacement syndrome. It's like, do what Andrew did. We're scared to try new things, you know? And I think I had a lot of that. And I was so grateful to just be there with that company who I idolized. I thought they were incredible. And then when Cody came in, he was like my fourth Cunningham in a rotation of Cunninghams while they were trying to figure it out. He came in to my show probably about 4 or 5 months in. And I felt like we finally found it, you know, like we found our Price and Cunningham. And I just love him so much. He's such a great performer. He's still Elder Cunningham. And when Broadway comes back, he'll be the Elder Cunningham. So you guys, if you want to see a great Elder Cunningham, go see it on Broadway, especially when it comes back. I'm so excited to see him on the other side of this. He brought me a lot of of joy, and it was really nice to find that partner in crime and find the chemistry that's so important with those roles. So I miss Cody a lot.
Beautifully put. Then, of course, you got to work with Marianne Elliott for the first time, along with her other director, Tom Morris, for the brilliant Lincoln Center production of War Horse. I mean, how life-changing was that show for you?
It was amazing. I mean, first of all, it was the first play I did, and something that I'm very proud of, obviously. So War Horse, we won Best Play that year, and Book of Mormon won Best Musical that year. And I was not only Billy in War Horse, but everyone covered in War Horse. So I actually covered Albert, the lead role in War Horse, and went on for about 10 shows, and then took over for Book of Mormon. And just looking back on that unbelievable year, I was like, wait a minute, I've played the leading role in the Best Play and Best Musical from 2011. That is so surreal, you know? And those are pinch me moments, I think, in my career, that if you told like the 13-year-old Matt, who was desperate just to have a chance to be on a Broadway stage, like, one day you'll do that, you know? That's, again, going back to that community theater. You never know what's going to happen to these kids. Inspire them, you know? That was a really, really special year. And War Horse was just so satisfying to work on, because it was theater craft at its best. It can only be done in the theater. It can only be done this way. As we saw from the movie, it didn't have the same effect, you know? It was just magic. Those puppets were spectacular, and working with them was, I will never forget that.
Yeah. And then, of course, you started your history with Stephen Sondheim when you got to play Anthony in the Tooting Arts immersive production of Sweeney Todd. How magical was that?
Unbelievable. You ask anyone in that company, it changed us all as performers, because I don't think any of us had to break the fourth wall like that. So this was set in a pie shop, and they actually built a pie shop. And for those of you who don't know, we were standing on tables, we were scraping our forks and knives in your face, we were grabbing your shoulder, scaring you in the dark. It was immersive theater, and I was terrified of immersive theater. I was like, do I have the guts? Like, I don't know if I do. I've always seen it and thought, how do the performers do that? Like, I don't know how you just like have the confidence of doing that every night. And it was really mortifying at first. I remember the first couple shows, I was like, I don't know how to look into someone's eyes and sing a song. Like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I'm so used to having this fourth wall. And Brad Oscar was saying the same thing too. He was like, I think this is making me a better performer. I've never had to break the fourth wall this way. And what really broke the fourth wall for me was Sondheim came to our second preview, sat down in the spot that I always, during Amis, look at me, I would relate it to someone in the audience, and I would grab that person's shoulder and then sing about Joanna to that person and look them right in the eye. I look out, Stephen Sondheim sitting in that spot. And I was like, I can't. I'm going to have to pick someone else. I can't put my hand on Steve Sondheim's shoulder and sing him his song. I can't do it. And then right as I went out, I was like, you have to. And then, like, this is your only chance. And like, come on, you have to. And so I did. And I sang it right into his eyes and sang him on this, singing about Joanna. And I'm like 5 inches away from his face. And I'm just like, this is the most surreal experience ever. And then after that, I didn't have any problem relating it to anyone in the audience. I was like, I got over that. So we're good.
Oh my, because I was going to ask you, do you remember the first time you had to sing for him, but then singing for him during the second preview?
Yeah. Yes, that was incredible. And he was such a fan of that production. He's one of the reasons it came over. So he was there constantly. And I think that really helped me with my nerves in dealing with him in company too. As I was like, well, I did that, so I think I can handle this.
Oh, I love that. Talking about art again with your sister, you created, is it with Beth Baer?
Yes.
The digital comic Dense.
Yes.
How exciting was that to do?
It was amazing. So as you can see, I am quite a nerd and very, very immersed in nerd culture. And it's kind of the other side of me that a lot of people don't know about. I grew up obsessed with comic books. I've got my collection right here. And I loved nerd culture. I found a lot of identity in it growing up, and I found a community in it. And so it was incredible. Beth just had someone approach her one day, and I had sent Beth a treatment of an idea that I had. She's a best friend of mine from San Francisco days, and somebody came up to her and said, would you ever be interested in using your name, because she's an actress on TV, and branding a comic and coming up with the idea? And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. If I do it, I want to actually create it, and I have a treatment and a really good idea a friend of mine just sent me. And so out of nowhere, she calls me and she was like, I think we just got a comic book deal. And I was like, I don't know how to write a comic, Beth. And I was like, I mean, I read them and I know how they're structured, but like, I don't think I could do it. And she was like, just try. And so I sent like my first draft to them, and no one had an issue with it. No one thought anything was like out of sorts. And all of a sudden I'm writing a comic that has weekly deadlines, and I've got an artist that lives in India. I've got a colorist that lives in Malaysia, and I'm producing this comic that's getting 100,000 reads a week. And it just, sometimes life happens that way, where you're just like, okay, apparently I've got a new career now, and I don't know why, but I'm just going to fake it until it feels comfortable. And then about, the second season happened, and I was like, yeah, I know how to do this. Like, I know
That's
this.
all your family. It's all your parents, and it's your sister. I mean, it's all these people that early on you said you couldn't compete with her. And now all of a sudden, look what happened years later.
Yes.
Well, it's really, really wonderful. You recently starred in the new Huey Lewis musical, The Heart of Rock and Roll, at the Old Globe. How much fun was that? How wonderful was that?
A blast. I love Gordon Greenberg so much, the director of it. And we just had a really, really wonderful team. The book writer, Jonathan, and Huey. Huey was so great to work with. And so he's as cool as you hope he is. And, I think there's a lot of... there's a lot of judgment towards a jukebox musical before anyone even sees it. And we definitely felt that going into it. And I was just so amazed by the creative process, because we created something really, really endearing and sweet and fun. It was the whole goal of it was to essentially create an adult Ferris Bueller's Day Off with Huey Lewis tunes. And I really think they achieved that. It was supposed to have life right before this shutdown. They were vetting theaters, and I was obviously not going to be able to do it if I was a part of company, but who knows what will happen in the future. It's still very, very much alive. And I was blown away. And also Katie Rose Clark, my co-star in that. Oh my God, I love her so much. She's so talented. And we just had a blast on it. It was something where there was such low pressure on us, because I think that's also the benefit of a jukebox musical, is everybody's expecting it to be the worst somehow, that you're like, well, guess what? This is great. And it's really full of heart, and it's really sweet, and the music rocks, because we all love Huey Lewis. Even if you don't even realize it, you're like, that's a Huey Lewis song too. It's the best score, and we had so much fun doing it.
Well, I hope something happens with that for you a year or two down the line.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
can do company, and then you can move on to that, which is great. You're also known to millions of TV fans for playing Jonathan Whitney on the smash hit CW Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my God,
working on that show.
It's so wild, because when I did it, it was everyone in New York was doing Gossip Girl, and I was very, very fortunate to get a little role on it with some really bizarre features. Like one episode, they think I'm Gossip Girl, and I can't believe how much to this day. And I don't consider myself a TV actor. I enjoy working on TV, but it's something I've never actively pursued, because I love theater so much. And if you were to ask me where would I rather be, I don't care about the salary. I would much rather be on a stage. It's just is where I'm comfortable, and it's why I'm doing this. So it's very funny as an adult. I'll walk down the street, because it's this huge hit on Netflix now, and people are watching it for the first time now, 10, 11 years later, and people are like, are you Jonathan from Gossip Girl? I'm like, I said 3 lines. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, you were a big deal. You were a big part of that. I'm like, no, I wasn't. But
they are episodes.
Yes, I had 8 episodes. Yeah. And they were so good to me on that set. Everybody is looking for like Gossip Girl gossip whenever they're like, what were they like? What was Blake Lively like? I have nothing. I'll never forget running into Blake Lively on the street like 2 years after my last episode. And she was like, Matt. And I was like, you are so nice. Thank you so much for remembering me. I would never, and she like gave me the biggest hug. And that's how they were every time I came to set. Chase Crawford was like, come to my dressing room, hang out, And so everybody looks for like the dish. And I'm like, I don't have any. Every time I showed up, they were really lovely. I sat next to, Leighton Meester, and we sang Benny and the Jets for like an hour straight one time. Like it was a lovely set to go to work to.
That is great. I mean, you've also done some film work. You did that beautiful Private Romeo, which is a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous film. But I want to get into some personal stuff for a second, because you're very loyal to your fans, which I love.
Yeah.
And, you've also been very open about your clinical depression.
Yes.
And I and thousands of others want to thank you for that.
Oh, my God. It's a stigma that bothers me so much, because if more people were talking about it when I was younger, I would have felt much more seen, and would have felt I would have felt more comfortable in my own skin at that age dealing with it. And it's something that I try to just be open about, because we have to stop the stigma. So many people struggle with depression, clinical or otherwise. And I know that for me, it is a chemical thing that I cannot change about myself. And it took years for my parents to really understand that and accept that, products of the 60s. My mom has a wonderful, like hardworking Polish family that just says, buck up and get over it. And she was dealing with a kid that couldn't do that and didn't have the means to get over something, and that was really hard for even my family to understand. So there was such a period of growth for me in accepting it and figuring out how to deal with it, in accepting medication and in accepting that this is an illness that I need to treat, just like diabetes, just like anything else. And I try to be open about it, because I don't want people to be afraid of treating it, because that's where the tragedies occur. That's where people feel really truly alone, is when they feel like they are other, and they feel like they don't have a place in society because they feel this way, and everyone's just saying that they need to get over it. And so it's very, very important to me that we just keep saying, I'm not okay, when we're not okay, and this is why. And I hope if anyone's feeling this way, I feel this way too, you're not alone.
See, especially, I had Patrick Page on, and Patrick Page is open about it too. He said, millions of people go through this. And it's also nice to put that out for your fans, because this has been a really tough year for so many people.
My gosh. I have so many people reaching out to me, telling me they're dealing with depression for the first time, and saying to me, you've spoken so much about depression before, and it's not until now that I truly understand that all over pain, that sinking feeling that I'm not even able to get out of bed. And they'll describe everything to me, and they're like, I'm so sorry I didn't understand it before. And I think it's just an important conversation to have, so that no one even experiencing it for the first time has to feel so alone,
Well, I thank you for putting a face on it, because a lot of people are doing this now. Everybody thinks, people who, at what you've risen to as as a performer, they're like, oh, God just taps him on the shoulder, and that's Matt Doyle. He's perfect. And everybody realizes you go through the same things as everybody else does.
Right. Absolutely. And especially like our business is so chaotic behind the scenes. You have no idea.
Well, I know you do a lot of work for the Trevor Project too, and anybody wants to look into that. The Trevor Project is brilliant, and Matt does a lot for that. But I also want to, you've also recorded a lot. You've released some wonderful EPs, Daylight and Constant, and you had your first full-length album, Uncontrolled. I mean, how proud are you of those albums, and what do you love the most about recording?
Really proud. So I'm really, really, really happy in a recording studio. It's me and my friends creating something together. And I've gotten this like wonderful, wonderful opportunity to get to work with Will Van Dyke, who's my co-writer on all of these albums. And he arranged all of my music. I write top line, which is melody and lyrics, and he arranges them so well. And I'm so glad that I did that, because it captures moments of my life in a way that I'm so proud of. You know, sometimes I look back on an old song, and even if it feels silly now, it's just so special that I put something like that into words and into music. And I love the collaborative experience of working on an album and just being in the studio and making something and saying, we did this, we made that. And it was also like the perfect time. You know, it's gotten really strange for independent artists, but right at the time of all of those EPs and even my album, it was when iTunes was like a gift to independent artists, you know, because you could just sell your music. And now everything's gotten complicated with streaming again. And my God, this music industry is so difficult. But it was such a great time to enter the independent space. And I do work with Sony ATV Publishing, but as a writer. And I even got to go down and write with them down in Nashville for Uncontrolled with a bunch of other artists down there. And I co-wrote 3 songs on that album with Sony. And then they said, like, we'll give you all the resources and you can produce it on your own, which is really the best thing in the world, because then you have full control over your music and you can do whatever you want with it. And as a gay independent theater artist, that's honestly what you want. You want to be able to put your music wherever you want. And I love the music that we created. And I think Will Van Dyke is a superstar. And anytime I get to write with him is such a thrill.
Well, all these albums are wonderful. Just type in Matt Doyle, the name of these. It'll all come up on the streaming platforms. Really wonderful music to listen to. We are just about out of time, my friend. It flies by really fast.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Well, I have one more question for you. Finally, what have you learned about yourself during this pandemic?
Oh,
it's a big one.
So this is interesting, because I think that the biggest thing that I've learned about myself during this pandemic is how much I grew over the past decade and didn't realize it. You know, there was a really dark period for me, kind of 2015 onwards, where I didn't know if I wanted to continue in theater, and I was working things out and just trying to figure it out. It was right after Book of Mormon, so it was right after a lot of success. And I turned into a much more patient person, a person that understood that survival and creating and doing whatever you can to just keep yourself happy and afloat is a beautiful thing, you know, and that you don't need to have one Broadway show after another, and you don't need to be doing the things that people say you should be doing or what you think you should be doing. And all of that, I think, prepared me for a year of needing to be very, very patient, you know, and that surprised me. I think I learned that I was much more patient than I thought I was during this process, because I saw a lot of my co-stars and people that I worked with in the industry struggling with it a lot more. And I think I had kind of tackled that beast right before Company. Company was like almost the reward for being patient. So I said to Marianne, I've been patient for so long. This is a wonderful production, and I know we're going to come back. So if I just have to be patient a little bit longer, then so be it. And we will come back, and it will be even more special on the other side.
I love that. Be patient. Listen, everybody, once again, Matt will be live in concert with Seth Rudetsky this Sunday afternoon, April 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a rebroadcast Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's that special VIP sound check ticket at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Make sure when you buy these tickets, make sure if you're buying it for the 12 noon or the 8 o'clock or, the 3 o'clock, all tickets are $28.50. There's that special student discount available. Remember, you have to have it at a .edu student when you sign up at BroadwayWorld for an account and use the code STUDENT. The series is once again produced by Mark Cortali. It is sponsored by BroadwayWorld and StreamYard. Tickets are available at Broadway World Events, SethConcertSeries.com. Listen, Matt, I have known you literally since your debut in Spring Awakening, and I've watched all the success that's happened for you throughout your career. It's been great to catch up with you
I
today.
know. I love seeing you. Really, I was saying, you guys, to Richard right before we got on. Moments like these make it all feel a little bit more real. You know, we are snowballing towards possibly coming back, and it's just so nice to talk to you and talk about theater and prepare ourselves for a really wonderful comeback.
Well, I cannot wait to be there. Company, as you can, I see, I've got the original poster
I
behind me.
know.
I can't wait to add your poster onto my walls behind me too. And I cannot wait to be there and see you all live. Everybody, join Matt on Sunday for his concert, and stay safe, and we'll all see you soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.